Hello my lovely YouTubers, so this is a request video on belly button piercings. A lot of you didn't know, but I do have my belly button pierced. I got it pierced about a month ago, actually, but maybe a month and a half ago almost. I can show you. It's just has a little diamond-y looking jewel on it. I am almost 21 years of age and I did just get my belly button pierced. It took me almost 21 years to convince my mother to let me get my belly button pierced. Even though I'm older, I still had to get parents' permission. So this video is about, or was requested to be about tips on getting your belly button pierced and what to do after you get your belly button pierced. So my first tip is, if you are under the age of 18 and your parents do not give you consent to get your belly button pierced, don't do it. Don't have your friend pierce it. Don't go to a sketchy piercer that pierces people underage. Honestly, I've seen people with infected belly buttons and it's not pretty. It's not attractive. I've seen them heal weird, so the belly button like hangs awkwardly and doesn't match up. I've seen people that go through a ton of pain, even hospital visits, because of bad piercings. So please, I beg you, don't do it. Once you hit 18, you can go and do whatever you want. But please don't have your friends pierce your belly button. So my first tip is, after you get your parents' permission, or if you're over the age of 18 and you want to get it done, is to find a parlor that does piercings. A lot of tattoo parlors will. I recommend going on a site like Yelp. And that, you can just Google it. That's a site that people can go on to review hair salons, to review tattoo parlors, piercing parlors, restaurants, stores, everything and anything you could think of. You can get a review, or you can review stuff yourself on there. Or ask one of your friends that got their belly button pierced where they got it done and if it was a good experience. When you walk into a tattoo parlor, they should be relatively friendly. They should, you know, appear to know what they're doing, and it also should be a very sanitary place. You want to make sure that once you're in there and you're like about to get your belly button pierced, that either the needles are being cleaned in front of you, or that they come in a fresh pack, or they're disposable needles. Make sure everything's sanitary. Make sure they sanitize your stomach or where the piercing is going to go before they pierce it. You want to make sure everything's really clean, because if you start off with a dirty piercing, it's probably not going to go very uphill from there. So when they do pierce your belly button, step by step, what they do is they take a little marker and they mark two holes. They mark a hole on the top of your belly button and one on like the inside, and make sure that you check those. I know people that have gotten crooked belly button piercings because they weren't paying attention. So make sure that you're making sure those holes match up and they're where you want them to be. You're paying for this piercing, so if you don't want it where they're putting it, you can say, no, I don't want it there, can you move it? Make them do it 6 times if you have to, but rather you be happy because you're going to have this for the rest of your life than have it looking crooked. What they're going to do next is sanitize the area and put a clamp on it, and that clamp is just going to hold that extra piece of skin around your belly button taut so that they can get the needle through, and then they will pierce it. I went by myself. All my friends kind of chickened out, so I went by myself. I actually did not watch them do the piercing because I'm one that I can't watch that. So I didn't. Some people might lie and say it didn't hurt at all, but it did. It hurt, but it doesn't hurt so much that it's unbearable or that you're gonna cry. While he was piercing my belly button, it literally was like, ow, 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 okay, you're done. That was pretty much it. It didn't really hurt after. There was a little bit of throbbing. There was some discomfort. But other than that, after it was pierced, there was really no pain. There wasn't even a lot of bleeding. If you're someone that does bleed a lot, eat like a candy bar or something before. Sugar thickens your blood, so you'll bleed less. If you have a tattoo or know anyone that gets a tattoo, they won't give you a tattoo when you've been drinking because alcohol thins your blood, and that makes you bleed a lot. So eat a candy bar or something before. Make sure you've had something to drink. You're good with the needles. It was not a bad experience getting my cartilage pierced. This little piercing up here, I don't know, yeah, you can see that. That hurt and took longer to heal than my belly button is. Surprisingly, I would never think that would hurt as much as it did, but it really did. I also got that done with a gun. So we'll talk about that later, but don't get your cartilage pierced with a gun. It's a really bad idea. Anywho, belly buttons. So you've gotten your piercing. You're good to go. Make sure before you leave the parlor, you get piercing instructions. Every tattoo parlor, every piercing parlor is going to have their own set of instructions. So make sure you not only listen to what your piercer's saying, but that you also Google it and do your own research just for your own well-being. I can only tell you what my piercer told me, which is do not swim in chlorine, like pools, hot tubs. Don't take a bath. Don't go in lakes or ponds or anything like that for 3 to 6 months. Swimming in the ocean, I was told, is okay as long as it's, you know, a clean beach and you're not messing around with it too much. Salt water does promote healing, so I was told swimming in the ocean is okay. I'm not really sure why taking a bath is not okay, but I'm not gonna risk it. So that's what I was told. Also, don't change your jewelry for 5 months, or 3 to 5 months, I think it was. When I do eventually change my jewelry, I'm probably just going to go to the tattoo parlor with whatever piercing or whatever ring I buy and ask them to change it for me for the first time. I don't trust myself to do it. So I'm probably going to ask for help, which is great. You should be able to feel comfortable going back to your piercing parlor whenever you have questions. You should feel totally comfortable calling them. I called my piercing place right after I got it done because I wasn't sure on instructions. I also went back a week later. Let me tell you, in the first week, everyone's skin reacts differently. My skin, for the first a few days, it was fine. It was just looked like I had my belly button pierced. It wasn't red. It wasn't crusty. And then about a week into it, it started getting really red and kind of getting a little like peeling just around the piercing. And I started freaking out because I didn't want it to be infected. So I actually went back to my piercing parlor, I guess, and asked them, hey, does this look infected? What should I be doing? Why does it look this way? And they said, oh, no, you're fine. It's just the healing process. So if it gets red and crusty, that is completely normal. This sounds really gross, but it might also get a little crusty, or it might ooze a little bit, and that's completely normal as long as it's kind of like a whitish clear color. If it's yellow or green or anything like that, or if it starts getting really swollen, you want to go get that checked out. So either go to your doctor or go to your piercing specialist. So to clean your belly button, everyone has different methods. The most popular one is the saltwater method. So what you're going to need is 1 gallon of distilled water. This is just like water I bought at Stop and Shop. Don't use water from your tap. If you want to boil water, that works too, but this was the easiest way for me to do it. So a gallon of distilled water and uniodized a coarse sea salt. And what you do is you put 2 to 3 tablespoons of sea salt in this and you shake it. Or you can take boiling water, put it in a cup, and dissolve about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of salt directly into the water and do it that way and let it cool. Whatever's easier for you. So what you do is you take a shot glass or some kind of cup. I just happen to have shot glasses and that's a perfect size, so that's what I use. You put, don't fill it to the top, but you put it to like there of salt water. And then what you're going to do, say this is your stomach. You're going to take it, you're going to bend over so that you can put the cup on your stomach, and then you're going to sit up and either, you know, like kind of lean back or lay back. So this is completely covering your belly button. You want to make sure whatever cup you use, it's completely covering your belly button and the water is touching the surface. So I used to just kind of swirl it around a little bit. You can do it in the shower, but they recommend that you do this twice a day. I found out that the salt water was actually a little bit too abrasive for my skin, so they recommended that I go get Bactine, this stuff. It's Bactine, Bactine. Sure. And it says original first aid liquid, soothing infection protection. First aid antiseptic, no sting. It's made by the people that make Bear. You can get this in a spray bottle, When I went back to the tattoo parlor and was like, why is it all red? They were like, well, maybe you should stop using the salt water and use the first aid ointment instead. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to react different. If it's getting red and you're worried, go in and ask them. Have them look at it. This is their job. This is what they do all day, so don't feel bad. Rather be safe than sorry. I would rather bug them 100 times than have it get infected. So, if you decide to not use the salt water and use this solution, the way I do this is I lay back and I squirt a bunch of this. You can get this in a spray too, but I just got it in the squirt. I squirt a bunch of this around my belly button, like where the piercing is, and then I take a Q-tip and I soak the Q-tip in this, and then I rub it around my piercing. And what you're going to want to do before you do anything, also, before you clean your piercing, you want to make sure your hands are clean. So I always wash my hands with soap, and then I just use just hand sanitizer. And I always use it before I touch my piercing at all. So I'm not cleaning it right now, but I'm going to touch my piercing. So I'm going to sanitize my hands real quick. So the way you clean it is you're going to take your belly button and you're going to pull it up. And you're not pulling really, really hard. Can you see that? You're not pulling really, really hard. You just want to pull it up so that you can see more of the barbell. You're going to pull it up. You're going to take your Q-tip and you're going to clean around the ball. You're going to clean the skin all around the piercing. You're going to clean the barbell and the little ball at the top. Alright, that's all clean. And then what I do is I squirt a little of the solution around the hole so it gets down into the piercing. I then pull it out the other side, and I do the same thing. I clean around the piercing, I clean the barbell, and then I clean the actual stone and the ball itself, as well as around the skin. I don't pat it dry. I don't wipe it at all. I leave the leftover solution, the leftover Bactine solution. Sorry, my computer went blank. I leave this on my stomach and let it dry. That is how I clean my belly button. I do that twice a day. When I get out of the shower, I also use a Q-tip and just go around it to make sure there's no like crust. And I also go in my belly button. Go inside your belly button because you want to make sure there's no fuzz or anything like that. When you do get your belly button pierced, some places will only pierce with the barbell. Other places, like mine, other places will pierce with a hoop. It's all preference. It depends on where you go. I personally like the barbell because I can get like a cute little gem on it as opposed to, I don't know if you can with a hoop. But I've heard hoops fall out easier. I've also heard that when you first get it pierced and you have a hoop, if you sleep on your stomach, then it can make your piercing crooked. So, I mean, I didn't really have an option, but if I did have the option, I'd probably go with the barbell. But again, do your own research. Don't just go on what people tell you. Like, make sure you Google it and decide what you want and what parlor you want to go to. The reason why you can't get dangly jewelry when you first get your piercing is because if your piercing's trying to heal and your skin's trying to heal and it constantly has a weight on it, that piercing could stretch. That piercing could get crazy bad scar tissue, and it's just generally not good for something that's healing. Like they say, if you sprain your ankle, you're supposed to put it above your heart and rest and relax it. It's the same thing. You can't, your piercing can't, rest and relax and get used to having a foreign object there if it's constantly being pulled on. When you do eventually get jewelry, make sure that you keep your jewelry clean as well. Again, belly button piercings are one of like the top piercings get infected, so just make sure that you take very good care of it. You always make sure your hands are clean. Don't let anyone else touch your piercing. I don't care if it's your boyfriend, I don't care if it's your mom. Do not let anyone else touch your piercing. You don't know where their hands have been, even if they washed their hands. There should be no reason why anyone should be touching your belly button. If someone does touch your belly button, make sure you clean it right away. Make sure you don't over-clean your belly button as well. That can cause irritation. So it's recommended twice a day, morning and night. And I always shower in between. And when I'm in the shower, I just kind of move it a little bit. I don't yank. I just move it. It's also recommended that when the first week or two of healing that you stay away from like vigorous activity. So if you're someone that plays a sport or you like to go to the gym and do lots of ab workouts, I try to hold off on that for a few weeks. If you play a sport, I would try and do it in your off season as opposed to trying to heal a piercing while, you know, playing soccer or whatever. There's always a chance of it getting dirty. So just be careful. Make sure everything's clean and sanitary. If you have any questions, like, I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. I'm still new at this too, so feel free to ask below. I'll try and get as many answers as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye!